Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to speak from the heart and not from my head. Okay, because I know we get in our heads a lot, and I know we don't want to put our work out there, build in public, show people what we're doing or trying, right? Or potentially going to fail at. The thing we fear the most is not failure. It is the opinions that we hold of ourselves, and it is the opinions that we think others are going to give to us, and how we think those opinions are going to make us feel when they come. But you can choose to not accept the words of others to make you feel in any way. You can choose to self-regulate and only choose to allow things in that you desire to. Like, you can stand guard at the gate of your mind. And you must, actually, because people will try to tell you things that you don't need to hear. There are people that will try to pour bad energy and bad shit and stuff that'll just bring your life down into you, and you don't want to hear that stuff. So you need to either close your ears, run the other way, or just choose to allow it to come into one ear and fall out the other. You don't need to keep everything that you hear from people. You don't need to take it all in. Make sure you take in deliberately what you want to. And I mean that in every way. Like when you're in the car, play things that matter. Play things that are making you smarter. Play things that are just getting new terms into your head, new concepts, new ideas, new thoughts, right? Different thought patterns, right? Like that's a new way to think, a whole new way to think, from listening to one random podcast and just getting one note that mattered the most on your commute to, from home to work, and maybe from work to home, and you get two things, right? And continue to do this. Improve your own life. Stop thinking like everyone thinks, right? When you only associate with the same people all the time, and when you only associate with people online and in comment sections and all the same type of people, who are those people? The average. Like when people say the 99%, they are actually serious. There is a 99% and there is a 1%. And the 1% are the people who are intentional with their thoughts and ideas and their words that they speak. Like, those are the 1%. And the 99% gets caught in something called groupthink, right? And groupthink, when you don't expose yourself to people in the 1%, you get to be caught in largely groupthink of bad ideas. Because you can get caught in groupthink even with successful people. But the point is, people around you bring you up or down. So what are your people doing for you? And they can only go one way. There's no middle ground. There's no stagnation, right? In life, there's no stagnation. You can't pause time, so there's no stagnation. Like, time still goes, and you either decay or grow depending on your inputs, right? A plant either decays or grows based on its input. If it doesn't have sun and water and air and space and soil, like, the plant dies. And if it doesn't change physically, like literally it changes, right? If it doesn't change, it also decays. So you have to be open to change, but not change without your intentionality. Because if you do that, you're going to be decaying. Like, if you give a plant fucking dog food and Gatorade, it's gonna die, dude. It needs water. And like, if it's in the dark, it's gonna die. So you can't give yourself dog food, Gatorade in darkness and expect to live. And if you get caught in groupthink, most of what everyone thinks is just complete shit, right? Reading comments is like the worst thing you can ever do, especially if you are looking for advice. Please don't do that. Like, please. Take in the highest quality information that you ever can, possibly, all the time. Like, the highest quality books. And speaking of books, books are one of the most important things you can learn from foundations, right? Because they're so important. The foundations you lay should be concrete and not on top of scaffolding. When you're building your life, you don't want to have learned from like a bunch of high level bullshit, and what I mean by that is the opposite of foundation. Like, the foundational knowledge is what you need to know. If you can master the foundations of math, you'll be fine. If you're just on top learning all the high level strategies, right? Everyone tries to implement strategies, but no one wants to go learn business foundations. How does it work? How does the system work before I go try to learn the parts, right? Anyways, if you're just learning high level strategies from the people that are new to the game, or the people that are writing for money, right? Then you're going to learn a bunch of bullshit. You need to go to the old wisdom. You need to go to the stuff when people weren't writing for, like, Aristotle did not write a textbook for you to read so that he could sell more copies on Amazon. He didn't fucking care about Amazon, okay? I just realized how weird my hand looked like the entire time, but I'm not going back now. So I'm too far in. Okay, so since Aristotle did not write for Amazon or thrift books to sell more copies, then we know that he was writing for his wisdom. He was writing for us. He was writing for people to read and learn from for many, many thousands of years after he died. Great. He did a good job. If you are reading people that wrote for money or to promote their brand, then you're obviously not getting the same treatment. So what I'm saying is learn from foundations. Learn at the basics. Like, if you're going to learn physics, or if you're going to learn copywriting, like, don't learn from the guy who started copywriting last year, right? Read scientific advertising by Clyde Hopkins, or read the Boron Letters, or read Ogilvy on advertising. And if you want to go make money, don't go study the guy who got rich last year. Go study Warren Buffett or Charlie Munger, right? Go learn from them because they've been doing it for 100 years. And so with books, since that's true, you want to learn from foundations. Don't go mess up your foundations learning a whole bunch of stuff that is, again, either written for money or just published by a guy who doesn't know what he's talking about. So going back to the main topic, study successful people. Learn from the best in the world. Who are the best in the world? They're the people that do the thing you want to do the best in the world. That's who you need to learn from. Like, if you want to learn math, go learn from Einstein. And so you need to, by that definition, go find out and define what you actually want in life. And that is actually the hard part. The easy part is figuring out who has it and how you need to get there. That's the crazy thing. People think so counterintuitively to how it actually is. People think that you need to work super hard to end up somewhere where you want to be. That is not how this works. It is not unintentional. It is intentional, and I'll tell you why in just a second. But the hard part is not who and not how. It is actually what. It is what you want. Once you figure out what you want, it is relatively easy to find somebody that has that thing. Like, seriously, like if you want a big house in a business, and then go find somebody who has a business in a big house, and make sure it's a business doing something that you care about, right? So that you actually want to get good at it and stick to it, and not just do it for money, but know that you can make those type of returns, right? And go find, but I don't mean like settling for something. I mean defining today what you would do in your dream life if you were not scared of anything and you could not fail. And the not scared part is a big part of that sentence, because a lot of the things that we stop ourselves from doing are all fear-based. Like, we tell ourselves, right after we say that we want to do something or dream a big dream, we tell ourselves why we can't do it and shoot it down. I promise you this happens. So just think back, for example, if you were going to walk up to a girl or a guy, and then 1 second later, your brain's like, oh, actually, no, I can't do that. Right? And this is the 5-second rule by Mel Robbins. She says, do it instantly, because the longer you think, the longer you have to think yourself out of it. The longer you overthink and start telling yourself all these terrible lies that are just useless for you, right? Oh, I'm going to start this business. Oh, but I couldn't do that. I don't have enough money. They're different than me. That won't work for me. I can't do this. I'm not confident enough for that. I can't do enough for that. I can't get good enough for that. Like, it's all these random lies that don't actually exist. They would have applied to anybody who's doing that thing for the first time. Right? So don't overthink. Count down from 5, or just do what I do and count down from 2 and fucking go. Like, literally just push through fear, because it's 1 second and it's ephemeral. It's like a person that looks big and scary but isn't big and scary at all. Like, it's like he's a big teddy bear. Or even lesser than that. Fear is actually not even there to be a teddy bear. You touch fear and then you walk right through it and you realize it was, as Layla Hermosi said, 100 miles wide and 1 inch deep. So, like, literally step through it, because then you're there. And it looks a lot scarier than it actually is. And it looks scary because it's supposed to be. Human evolution says it should, right? Because if there was a tiger around the corner, you needed to be scared and run away. But you don't have a tiger around the corner. You have a girl saying hi back to you. So just do it. The rewards are a lot bigger than the risk is massively asymmetrical to the rewards of doing that in life. Constantly pushing through fear. 1 second, 1 inch of fear, just pushing through it. And I didn't write any of this down, so I'm kind of just ripping off the cuff over here, but I hope you are enjoying the video. And so back to something I wanted to end the video with. Why is everything intentional? Why every successful person is every bit of intentional. And I mean hyper successful. If you see somebody at the top, study them, because they're being intentional. And what do I mean by that? I mean, the runner who wants to get better at running doesn't just run every day and then wonder why she's not getting better. The runner who wants to get better every day runs and watches her strides and practices how she stretches or cools down, and practices how she has to use her body or not use it to get the best results out of it, and practice to how she has to maintain her pace or speeds up or slows down, right? And she's making sure she has the right shoes for running, and on and on and on, right? The greatest football players, the greatest sports players in the world, they have to watch footage of themselves. They call it film. They call it studying film, and they do it for hundreds of fucking hours, because they know they need to reflect and be intentional with everything they do, and they know they can make better edits on the reflection than in the actual rep, watching themselves from a third person point of view. Right? Imagine if you did that with your life. Every day at the end of the day or at the end of the week, you reflected, what did I do this week? How did I move towards my goals? What are my goals? What are the problems I'm solving for? Was I solving the wrong problem this week? How can I do better next week? How could I do better today? How could I have done better today? In what way can I be better for tomorrow? Imagine if you did that every single day, like an Olympic athlete, every day. You said, what did I do today? Did I move towards my goals? How could I be better? What did I do today? Could I move towards my goals more? How did I do today? Right? Rate yourself. Rate yourself and say, I'm going to fucking crush that tomorrow. Rate yourself a little. You know, be good on yourself. Know that you actually got a lot more wins than you probably give yourself credit for. But rate yourself and be this intentional with how good you want to get. Just pride yourself on progress and not the outcome. right? You're not going to have your $1 million business today, but that's not the part that matters. The part that matters is the journey, and every single day taking that next step, pushing your next limit, building the next skill, trying the next thing, practicing your next rep, talking to the next person, right? That is what actually matters. That's the thing you end up looking back on when you get the $1 million. It's not when you get the thing, the trophy that you wanted to get. It's the fucking race that you ran to get the trophy. Right? It's always the thing you care about. It's never the trophy. The trophy's cool. It's there. It looks good on the shelf. But the thing you did was your shit. Right? Like, that's what you talk about. That's what you live off of. That's where you get aliveness from. That's what it's the build up to the big drop. So appreciate the journey. Be present. Look at your vision every once in a while. Don't live in the past. Fuck the past. It doesn't exist. Okay? I'm sorry. It just doesn't. So live in your vision sometimes, very few times. But I want you to live in the present most of the time. Breathe. Take the next step. Break your big goal down to one step that you can take right now. Like, that is the best way to move forward. Keep your vision alive, keep your why alive, so that you have something to look forward to and that's exciting to you in the future. And know you'll get there, right? Know you'll get there with the intentionality, right? Since we know everybody who gets to the top is intentional, and we know they always look to the future, but mostly live in the present. And why is that? I'll give you an example of that too. So in a car, you have a rear view mirror, right? And that rear view mirror is pretty small, so you should look there the least. Then you have the windshield, and the windshield, it's a little bigger, so you should look there a little more, right? That's your vision, right? That's where you want to look out to the future. But you don't want to live there, because then it gets boring. Again, if you pride yourself on the outcome, like, you're not going to have your $1 million today, but you will have it in the future, and you like the journey, right? And every single day you make progress, and you pride yourself on progress instead of the outcome. Now you can get excited every day that you rate yourself and tell yourself, this is what I'm going to do better. This is how I could have got better. This is how I did get better. This is what I did today, right? Give yourself props too. Good job for me for making all this progress. Good job for me for planning out my day. Good job for me for executing on the things I needed to do to get to the goals that I need to get to help the people I want to help. That is what you pride yourself on. That is what you get excited for. That is what you share on YouTube and talk about what you're doing. You just continue to get better every single day. At least this is what I do. And the more intentional you can be, the better. You don't have to be overscheduled in a day. Have creative time. Have blocks of time where you do nothing, except walk around and enjoy life and play games with your friend, or play games with your partner, or talk to your kids, or whatever. Do all these things. Do the things that bring you aliveness, like running the races and other things that the win doesn't matter so much in. Like, go run a race in a hobby that you care about. Even though you're not the best in the world, who fucking cares? Right? Go do things that bring you joy. Don't get bogged down by the monogamy of life and the repetitiveness of going to a job, coming home, filling that time in with literally fucking nothing except stimulant, right? Just like TikTok and fucking TV and Lord of the Rings and fucking drinking and partying and just doing the same stupid shit that everybody does. It's the 99%, right? That's how you get stuck in that group think that I was talking about. And so I hope you guys are enjoying this, because I know I am. So let's continue. When you get bogged down into all those things and you stop giving yourself hobbies, dreams, life to live, right? Feelings that you didn't remember you even fucking had. Like, go get the feelings of a kid doing something you love, because we're all like big kids, literally. We still like games. We still like competing. We still like doing these things, but like, we still like dreaming big, but we literally dumb ourselves down and mute ourselves and censor ourselves for life sometimes. And there's a wonderful quote by Benjamin Franklin. He says, most men die at 25 and never get around to being buried until they're 85, or something along those lines. And so what he means is people just stop dreaming because they get stuck in all this societal norm shit that everyone does. Like, if you see everyone doing it, run the other way. Because again, there's a 1% and there's 99% in everything. And so if you want to be part of the 1% or the 10%, which is not hard, by the way, it's not hard at all. And an example of that is like working out twice a week. Like, most people work out never, or maybe once, but they never work out twice. And so they don't even see results of the thing that they're trying hard to do, or on that one day. But it's like, stop trying if you're not going to do it. And so if you see everyone doing it, you automatically know their action is part of the 99%. Oh, everyone eats fucking ding dongs. Everyone sits here and watches Netflix and does nothing else after going to a job every single day. Like, that sounds so boring. Everyone deals with money problems. Like, run away from all the things you see everyone doing, because they're not the 1%. Because if they were the 1%, you wouldn't see everyone doing it. So let's go back to being intentional with everything that you do. Since we know everything's intentional, since we know to pride yourself on the progress, not the outcome, since we know to love the journey and be present most of the time, because that's what matters. And oh yeah, and the last part of that car analogy is the biggest spot in the car is the actual car that you're inside of. And inside that car is where you want to live the most. That's the present moment, okay? So always remember that. The car analogy for living in the present, the past, or the future. Don't live in the past much. The most successful people in the world live in the past the least. the most successful people in the world also live in the future a good amount. And so you want to live in the future a good amount and live in the present the most of the time so that you can constantly make progress. And being intentional with everything. Why? Because as John Maxwell says best, right? Everything that is good for you in life, every form of success that you can have, all of it is uphill. All good things are uphill. And all of uphill is intentional. All of up mountain is intentional. If you want to climb a mountain in life, all of it is intentional. Because you'll never see somebody at the top of a mountain who tripped, fell, and then woke up and he was there. Any person at the top of any field, space, industry, it doesn't matter. An actor, a singer, a basketball player, ask them how they got there. I promise they'll tell you. Like, I promise they'll know how much work they did. I promise they'll know how many times they failed and looked like a fool. I promise they know how many times they were scared. I promise they remember all those bad moments and hard moments and they're good and the bad. And all the hundreds of thousands of hours of reps and iteration and reflection and getting better intentionally, right? So every single person at the top is intentional. Why are you not intentional with your day? How does that correlate with you? How do you think that's going to be okay? Like, again, this is the 99 versus the 1%. If you plan your fucking day with the intention to get better and you do it every single day, you are, I promise you, in the 1%. No one does that. No one grows on purpose every single day. And all it takes is some intentionality with the same time that you're already going to put in, with the same effort that you're already going to put in. It takes the same amount of effort to be a failure in life as it does to be a success in life. And actually, I think it's way worse. Right? Being a failure, there's so much stress with it. Being broke, there's so much stress in with it, like with problems with it, and not being able to pay for your health or your family's health or putting your old parents in a home, right? You have to put them in some fucking hospital. So being a failure is actually harder than being a success. And yeah, guys, all good things are uphill. All of it is intentional. All the people that walk around blind in the darkness, not being intentional every day, they never make it to where they want to go because they've never defined where they want to go, which is, again, the hard part. What is a lot harder than how or why or where. All of that comes when you decide what you want in life. Have a wonderful day. Peace out.